Well, at least for this.
Hello.
Hello.
This is why I like to call it the cluster.
This is you
There we
don't
go.
even learn how to
There we
fix it
go.
after a year.
First fuck up in a long time. Been good for a while. All right. Start over again. Welcome to the clusterfuck. It's the 1 year anniversary, 2 months late. Because I can remember dates. So I got Reece, which you already heard. Kylon, my co-host.
Hello.
The chief onion of Eve Onion, Opus Magnum.
Howdy.
And then we got the infamous Brisc Ball.
Oh, hello.
And then we've got, don't need to blow up Alek. And then we got Alex Acard from Noir and his co-host, Kylon.
Hello, hello.
And then we have the infamous seagull of Pokemon, Drake Idun. So I really wanted to do this show.
The seagulls.
Really wanted to do this show, just kind of, have a little bit of fun. I mean, Reece, you came in, about the episode 9.910 point. Kylon, he was in and out in the beginning. Opus, I did my very first show in the very beginning with. That was a fun shit show.
I was on number 2.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yep. Brisc was interviewed for CSM last year on here. And then Alek's been on twice, which is always fun. And then I weaseled to get Zeeroak in since he actually listens to the podcast a little bit and thinks it's funny.
I do, yeah.
And then Drake just makes fun of me because he thinks I hate him.
Everyone hates me, baby.
But, so we're just going to have a little bit of fun, either some of the stupid shit that's happened on this show or making fun of me because I fuck shit up all the time, or making fun of some of the stupidity we do on this show, or whatever. I don't really care.
What I want to know is, what have you guys seen that has changed in Potchvinland with the trig stuff since you started the show? What was it like a year ago, and what's it like now?
A year ago, we just got done. Well, a year and 2 months ago, we just got done with Big Battle and We're Shota, and it turned into let's burn our own shit down. We're tired of being in timer hell, and started learning from Drake to Seagull to be annoying to outsiders.
Yeah, I guess a year ago they had just opened the gates.
Right, they had just opened the gates. That's when everybody was mad because of all the standing stuff and the changes. And I remember we talked about that on the show a year ago.
Yep.
So how has that worked out? Are people still mad about that, or has everybody kind of just dealt with it?
It was something that was going to happen eventually. Like, either they were going to taper it down, or the people that wanted to be in here would have just got the standings because it wasn't hard. And that was kind of the warning I'd always given to people. And I was kind of ignored. And then CCP were like, psych, here you go. Just cut all the standings.
I think it turned out to be a good thing.
Has it gotten more people involved? I mean, I know we're in there, and we wouldn't have been able to do it if we had to go grind the standings first. So
yeah,
I've been in there a bunch of times with the guys.
I think people have gotten involved. I think the initial issue we had, though, is that it opened up the floodgates, and it felt like all of Eve was bullying, quote unquote, the trees with their structures, right? Because they were, unique snowflake structures that couldn't be rebuilt, and of course, because of certain alliances, kind of getting the whole region engulfed in null-sec politics.
Sometimes it happens.
It happens, yeah. I think the only other update we've had is, I guess the drifters and all that are not quite as buggy. That's about the only other thing we have that's been updated, right, in a year.
The important thing there is not quite as buggy.
Yeah, not quite as
buggy.
We have a dude that's like 9.8 something with trigs, and he still gets dunked on by trigs if he shoots a drone and they're on grid with him.
Yeah, we still have our resident 12 boxer Aura has a 10.0. on like almost all of his characters now, or near enough to 10.0. And every so often the trigs will be like, "Wow, I fucking hate that guy."
I'm just that dirty daywalker that tries to avoid getting shot by both.
Oh, I'm a daywalker as well now. It took me a long time to get it to
Oh, yeah.
daywalker status. But like,
The Edencom is like super stingy on their standings.
Yep.
it's because you're not shooting the trigs. Gotta balance that shit.
It's a problem.
I mean, drones are like a big deal for them too. They're a threat too. So what the hell, Edencom?
Exactly.
At least we have no more in warp DDs happening anymore.
In warp DDs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you warp off as soon as if you're still on grid,
Or
even
the
in warp,
Tyrannus
when
guys.
when the Tyrannus shield goes down, it will just if you're the only player on grid, even if you're in warp, it'll just be like,
Yep.
yeah, you're dead.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't even see them
Wow.
on
We
gates.
There's some
that was-
crazy shit going on in Parchment, Alek. Not gonna lie.
it was one of the funnest emergent content we discovered early on, which was pre-priming Doomsdays. So we would find Tyrannuses that have no targets on grid, and we would volley them down and cloak before the missiles hit. So whoever warped on grid immediately died.
That's awesome. That's funny.
That's great.
Oh, you're the next person on grid.
Oops.
It did backfire once. I lost a Tengu doing it.
That would have been me because I'm always a late warping every
Like-
time. So,
I literally walked to like the same grid that I knew had primed one on, and I like looked away for a second. I just heard ding. I was like, "What? Oh fuck! I could only blame myself for this."
Yeah, I remember we were doing some standing sticks and I warped off because it was one that wasn't by a wormhole and I was warping away because we had one of our guys has like a super tanky scorpion, no rattlesnake, and he can take the DD and it decided to DD me instead and I was like, motherfucker.
I mean, you can
Right,
get
there you
lucky
go.
and try to sig tank it, but
Yeah. Yeah, but those bastards hit far out anyways with regular weapons.
So with like fraternity involved in this thing in nullsec and then the horde guys and everything, is it quieted down? Are the null group still giving you guys a hard time, or is it?
The threat's still
it
here
mostly
in
y'all?
force. There's still a crabbing wing in front.
They're all initiators now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
Frat
anything,
and
crabbing has
Horde.
gone way up.
So
Well, I
lots of
think-
crabs now.
Yeah, lots of crabs, but I will say that it's not super oppressive crabbing. Like it's not like one group is running 20-man fleets and just being obnoxiously abundant within the region, right? Each one.
Can you
has-
catch them when they're out, or is this always as
Yeah,
far as warping
catch
off?
Just about to ask, like, is this engageable crabbing or is it trolling?
It's crabbing. You can push them off very easily, but it's far harder to engage. They basically just they have 160-kilometer drone range Ishtars, and they burn away, and that's it. If you come to the site, they will stay on site just in case they get the tick.
We have to use miracle bushes to catch them.
Yeah, pretty much.
At this point, just catch them
just-
on the gates, basically. About the only way to get them.
And like even back when Horde was running the Vedmak fleets that was designed to run away from us all the time, at least they were expensive. The Ishtars are just for their tankiness and speed.
I mean,
They're so cheap now.
the Vedmak fleet was funny because we have EU time zone FC who's like, there's always one or two stragglers. Drop a bubble. And we didn't even have to bubble because they bubbled behind themselves and a Vedmak hit the bubble and we just destroyed it and laughed our way home.
Boom. There's always one.
Yep.
Axiom of
actually,
every fleet commander. There's
yeah,
always one.
The Horde boys like learned quite fast to try and sync their warps as fast as as best as possible, but Frat just don't care with their Ishtars. They won't group warp at all, so you can quite easily
well,
just
I mean,
catch
they're
them
so
out.
cheap. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you do one OF and you pay for what, 5
Mhm.
without even blinking.
Yeah, so Pakavin's a little squirrely, brisk.
How many structures are left?
A
We've
lot.
killed,
Yeah,
Are there any
number?
free force and
we've
stuff
killed
left?
2 more structures since
Okay.
since the changed, was it Siege Green? The change to the medium structures, the damage cap was removed. We've been constantly reffing the Frat stuff over and over again. So whenever they try and go out and attack Brave or defend from Brave, they have to make a choice of do we go out there, or do we have to commit some people
Love
to?
it.
That's
to-
awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear. That's
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I was happy with the siege green changes. I knew it was going to have an impact on some groups, but on the big guys, the small guys harassing the big guys, it gives me a chub. I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also seems to have tempered Norris's, like, kind of he's kind of simmered down and stopped like tried to lord over the fact he's the owner of Frat inside Poshman, and now he like speaks on an equal footing now. He also now sends me pictures of his cat Sissy, which is the most adorable cat I've ever seen. So he's now in my good books for now.
So you're on first cat terms with Norris.
I am.
There you go.
Cat terms are pretty. That's pretty intimate, you know.
Yeah, we're trading cat pics. You could say it's kind of serious.
Oh,
There's
shit.
only 281 structures left in Pochman. Hopefully, another year they'll be half that.
281. All right.
That's
Yeah,
including old
passes.
passes too.
almost
That's a
all almost all of them are Astras though.
Well, there's 27 Astras and 4 Forts left, and there's 9 Athenors and 4 Retarus. So,
Mm-hmm.
and 237 passes that are all dead.
Yep.
So there's your
Can you
numbers.
anchor a new pass in Pochman?
That's
or
good.
is that
Negative.
blocked
No,
too?
you can't
Oh.
anchor anything.
The
You
only
might be able
anchorable
to
stuff
anchor
would
the
be-
new site, the structure that's being anchored in Athunan, the new Edencom cloakable structure, but we
Be
don't
kinda
know
cool.
yet.
Yeah, the only
I still
things you
think
can anchor are like the small, like a mobile depot bubbles, like the quote unquote anchorable.
You can anchor photos.
That is a point. That is the one thing that you can anchor is the thing that you can make artwork. So we've got the is it a Nanny, the Among Us artwork
Nice.
that Rue maintains.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah,
mobile
well,
depots, yeah.
yeah, we put those out. Everyone seems to put out their noble depots.
So those passes that are still out there, I mean, they're all left over from the switchover, right?
Correct.
Everything's
Yeah.
So they're all dead. So they're just dead
They're all
sticks.
dead.
Man, dude, I got to tell Merc because one of our favorite things is we like to bash dead passes. We got to go. If there are 200 and some in Pochvan, we got to go find these things.
That
That's
sounds like
months
some
of
riveting
content for the
gameplay.
Rampage stream right there.
There you go. Well, bring it
That's
on.
it.
I'll
We got to go kill some passes.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a spreadsheet with all the passes and where they're located.
Oh my God, Opus, I love you. Thank you.
Unfortunately,
good.
no abortable XL ship maintenance arrays.
Hey,
in
I'll
here.
take it. Now I think we have a bunch of stuff left over in Senda. Remember when we were hanging out with you guys a couple months ago, and I think we still have all that stuff there. So I have to go back and kill it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I've been bringing.
Zeneria, I know you've been telling me that there are plenty of passes, but you didn't tell me where they were. Opus is telling me where they are. That's good.
Doesn't Zeneria only talk about Poshman now? He could have.
Oh, dude, I asked him earlier today because I knew I was doing the show. I said, "Hey, is there anything going on in Pochvan I need to know about?" And he gave me like 2 paragraphs worth of talking points. So I have some background stuff. That's where I'm getting my questions for you guys.
The thing is,
Oh,
two
gosh.
paragraphs worth of stuff from Zeneria
Thank you,
is kind
Zeneria.
of like scary. You don't know what he's put in there.
There you
good.
go, Brisc. Have fun.
Good. Oh,
Get
I
the
love
key
you,
to
man.
the kingdom.
Oh, it's so good.
So there's something I've seen recently, a trend emerging. I don't know if it's new, perhaps it's not, where there's a bit of advice now for returning players who've got their stuff all over New Eden, perhaps in asset safety. And the advice is, oh, it's okay. If you don't want to use Black Frog, then just filament it to Poshpen. It's the best way to get your stuff to high sec.
Yeah.
What do you
literally
think of
the
that
fastest-
advice?
It's literally the
It's
fastest
great
way to get
advice.
stuff to G10.
I mean,
It usually comes it comes with the caveat of, oh, make sure you watch a YouTube video or something first about Poshven, because there's timers and things, but that's about as much as detailed as the advice gets.
Well,
Yeah,
it's,
if you-
it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Well, it
I mean,
depends
literally,
on what you're moving to.
well, right. I mean, so if you can move, you can filament in, and then you can wait your 15-minute timer, and you can filament out to like adjacent filament, right? So that's one way. Or you can spin out wormholes. But I mean, it's safe-ish. Just don't sit out in space once you film it in. That's the problem that people start to have. They're trying to get their bearings, and next thing you know, some awesome
Yeah, they're gonna get
prover
worked in on.
Yeah, someone's already probed you down like 15 seconds, and now you've lost all your junk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the safest way is just like an orca with a cloak and a prop mod, and suddenly you're solid. You're sorted.
Yep.
Yep.
Like the orca highway is something that does happen in Parchment. It's not as well used as I thought it would be. There are quite a lot of traders that go from Amar directly to Jita using it without having to go through is it Yadama and stuff like that.
Yep. I used that today to go help the Noir boys out with my pesky little legion. Felt like a flea on the field next to their DPS.
It's amazing to me how many people, even veterans, haven't learned about all the different shortcuts you can take through different areas to get places. Like what Signal Cartel does with Thera is so freaking good. I don't know why more people don't use their Thera map, their Eve Scout stuff and everything to get around. And then the same thing with the Pochvin filaments, and knowing, if I get into Pochvin, no matter where I am, as long as I can get to Senda, I can be 4 jumps from Jita with an out filament. It's like there's so many easy ways to get around, and I feel like a lot of people just haven't figured it out yet, which is
it's mainly
interesting.
It's mainly, I think, is the people being apprehensive of the unknown. Like, people don't like, when I first learned about Thera, I was like, wait, this is just the best highway possible, until
Right,
Pochvin came
exactly.
along. It was the biggest quality of life change. The only thing is you just have to know how to conduct yourself in Thera, and it's not like it's masses of people in there now.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty chill.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a
rarely
chance you're going to
camp.
get caught in a gate camp on one of the out wormholes, but other than that, I mean, you're usually okay. Sorry, Alek.
I was just gonna say it's not even as camped as it used to be.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
It
Yeah.
really is a pretty straight shot, and anytime I have to go more than 15 jumps, it's the first thing I look at.
The other thing that most people don't know as well is you can clone jump into Thera.
Yep.
It's
That is
one of
the
the best features.
I have a clone in Station 12 all the time.
The question is that because of the player count's gone down so much, or is it
I think
just
so.
because so many people are afraid of terror?
I think it's definitely the player count. I mean, when you are right now, we're looking at, there are 23,000 people on 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon in Prime EU time zone. It's 8 o'clock UTC. It's 8 o'clock Eve time. This is kind of like the normal high peak of the weekend right now, and there are 23,000 people on. It would have been 33,000 a couple years ago,
But
even
man,
more
it's
than we
summer.
talked about on the Meta Show yesterday. It's
Summer.
kind of freaky to me.
Come on, you all know summers they go down in summertime. Come on.
But not
does-
like this. I mean, this is
Just-
crazy.
I've just quickly brought up Eve Offline. So exactly 2 years ago, we were looking at roughly 38 to 33,000 on Sundays.
Yep.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
over
and I
2
know
years,
that-
it's a big drop.
The price increase nailed a bunch of people, and the industry changes that made it less lucrative to have a bunch of alts and stuff like that, I know made a big difference. But still, like, we got a lot of vets leaving, and I worry about places like Pochvin and Wormhole Space because those are areas that already had a limited number of people involved, because it is a higher investment of knowledge and time to learn how to get good at those areas, and you don't have the crutches of things like local and stuff like that to get around it.
That's
And it
honestly why
worries
it's
me
the
that
best
fewer people are
space.
doing it. Well,
Like,
I like it. I don't mind that at all. Like that.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
to me is
It's
fun.
like-
It's part of the fun.
It's something that I've noticed of people coming in here, like brand new players, is if you throw new players in at the deep end, they will. It's not even a case of sink or swim; they will swim. They get, unless
Well,
they're unless they don't have the time, or
Yeah.
like the assets is a big problem at the start. But Podfin kind of solves that with salvaging, even if you die loads. It's once you get used to it, you're suddenly so much more adept at the game, more so than people that have been playing for years and years and years, who only stay in, say, high sec or low sec or anywhere. Like, if they stay in their own single area.
It's definitely something we've noticed in Kybernauts is you bring in newer players, most of them stay, most of them get hard, most of them learn the game really in depth more than even veteran players, right? It's just that environment. Space Hell just makes people better pilots.
Yeah, back in the day, and I'm sure most people have this story, I wasn't really retained until I went to LowSec, and it was one of the first things that my corp told me to do. They brought me in and said, yeah, You can be in high sec for a little bit, but come out to our low sec HQ. Come out here. Doesn't matter if you think you're ready. Just go. I did, and it was the best. I never went back, really.
One thing I think is go on, Sabbat, sorry.
Let's say I never was retained until Pokémon and Trig content came around.
Yeah.
I'd play for like 3-6 months, not play for 9 months or so, resub again. I was constantly in and out, and then I didn't play for a while because I was moving all over the country, and I up and decided to start looking at some videos, and was like, holy shit, they have new ships. There's this weird triangle content. Okay, let's try it out. And now I've been subbed for, I think my sub runs out like next year, a month from now. Like, I was just like, fuck it, I'm in. I'm sold. I love spooky, scary space.
I
I
mean,
think the reason
red.
why. Go on.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying it's red. You can say no to red.
Nope.
True, it is red.
I love the dark red. People there's loads of people because we've just joined Castle Kickers has just joined Roach just because we hang with them the most, and we've been basically jumping in and out of frat space, just bullying them and picking ratters off and things like that, and gate camping when they're trying to move stuff through. And I was like, oh my god, it's so bright in K space. And they're like, I don't know how. And they're like, you can see stuff in Podshman. I was like, yeah, I can make out guns and stuff. And I was like, how? It's just because I've been here for like a year and a half. I think the reason why people love Podshman so much is kind of like the reason why people who love Eve is because of delayed gratification and actually having some adversity to go through that you can be proud of instead of everything being handed to you. And I think Podshman is just a very condensed version of it.
And it doesn't help that you guys can make a lot of money in there too, as opposed to everywhere else.
Zoya definitely provides.
Zoya provides.
Speaking of money, so some of the stuff I did with the ridiculous money I was getting during the Seagull era was I just bought out all the Tyrannuses in Jita for months. So I have a couple thousand lying around the game, and I realized today that Tyrannuses have dropped over half. So I'm down like 30-40 bill in assets just in Tyrannuses.
Oh no!
Mm-hmm.
So Brisc brought up player count and stuff. I was so excited. Didn't want to let anyone know when I was doing this shit. So excited because I pulled all my structures down like 2 weeks ago, and super early Thursday morning, like an hour after downtime, I did that scary flight of my freighter into Jeddah with like 28 billion ISK worth of structure stuff, and I was like,
Please God, don't let the whatever the hell they're calling themselves now, the code
safety,
guys catch me.
Yeah,
Safety. Don't let the safety guys catch me.
Custom control, any of those guys.
Did you actually notice in the last MER the destruction in the Forge has gone down by about 30-40%?
Yeah,
and a lot of that is attributed to, we think, to all the alts in the safety and code, and who's the other one, Black Flag, just not being able to support all their alts.
Yeah.
So either they're quitting, or if they're not quitting, they're getting rid of a load of their catalyst alts.
Yeah, some of the fleets I saw when I was moving some stuff around were really tiny. They're like 5-man fleets, and I was like, okay, I think I'm safe. But
Well, I know there was a guy that used to hang out with us that he would gank people in Udama, and he was just saying that like it was harder and harder to find freighters going through, and during prime time there's almost nothing. And that for me is an indicator that something's going on.
Yep, that's absolutely the case. At least for my friends that are on the ganking crews, it's definitely become an issue. And I mean, the bumping changes made a big deal for them. That really hurt their ability to do what they do. And that was, I guess, 3 years old now.
yeah,
But since then, it's a lot of this traffic has just kind of dried up. And that to me is one of these canary in a coal mine signals that we got a problem here.
Well, the proof's in the pudding. If we took a look at this in Declarations of War, it isn't just any one patch. If you look over the course of the past year to 2 years, it's a steady trend down the average player count over each time period. a year ago we had less players than we had 6 months ago, than we had 3 months ago, than we had 2 weeks ago, than we had a week ago.
We did have
It's
the COVID
constantly
surge.
going down. It's not just the price change. It's not just any one patch. It's a
Yeah.
series of compounding decisions.
Yeah, and it only gets worse when you say, yeah, we're just going to charge more money. And like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that dev blog annoyed me so much. Just because, not because of them saying we have to charge more money, because like with the massive revenue loss that they had and electricity costs going through the roof right now, which is just hurting everyone. It's just that they put it through. They made someone from marketing write that. It's like, oh, we're going to charge you extra. And it's going to be so amazing. We get all this
Yeah.
extra stuff, but we're not going to tell you what it is. It's like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
Just say, like, look, we need to level with you, player base. We've lost this X amount of revenue because of these things, and electricity's going up. You know,
Because of stupid
unfortunately, yeah.
Right.
If they were just humble about it and just said, look, we have to raise prices, like it would have
What I
been
told
received
them
badly.
when we saw the blog early on the CSM, what I told them was, you need to remind people what they're getting, explain to them what you're going to give them in the future, and then explain the reasons why you had to do this. And they took that first part of explain what you're getting now, and they left that in, but they took all the rest of it out. And you go just with what you're getting now, and people are like, you guys you're increasing my costs, and I'm paying more money for the same thing.
Yep.
And that's why
Yeah.
I said, and I told them, I said, look, if you don't announce new content or at least tell people what you need the money for or what is happening that is causing you to do this, beyond, oh, we haven't had a price increase since 2003 and you got 20 years of inflation, you got to talk more about like specific stuff, like the war in Ukraine that cost them a whole segment of the game, or talking about electricity prices in England, or talking about like hyperinflation immediately that people all can recognize. And then, I said, frankly, what I would like to have seen them to do, and they didn't want to do this, was if they had waited to do this until a couple of months after FanFest, when they had announcements of new stuff coming, and then couple that with sales for vets that we finally got from them after pushing on it for months. If they had done all of that, it might have blunted. I mean, it was never going to completely blunt. People don't want to spend more money. I mean, that's the bottom line.
The
It's
sales
never
for
going to be
vets.
okay.
Yeah, the
Maybe
sales
it
for
wouldn't have
vets
been less bad.
the sales for vets is something they missed out entirely as well. Like even if it, because they said it wasn't ready it was supposed to be Paragon's Discord chat, but they could have put in the dev blog, we've got discounts coming for alts, it's just not ready yet. They could have just said that.
They could have said that. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I really wonder what the issue was, if they thought that there was some like technical issue with it. And I mean, granted, I know they went in June 1st, they did the whole make sure you put all your accounts under the same email address type thing and all that stuff to make it easier for them to track this shit. But I mean, look, if you tell people, hey, if you do this, you will get a cheaper rate, they're going to do it. Like, that's not an issue. So I felt like they really needed to say something at the time when they announced the increase, that there was going to be sales, and it needed to be positive, not just we're exploring it. It needs, but this will happen, and they didn't do that. And that,
And if it would have been a difference of a month and a half, why not just wait?
Right.
Why not just wait?
Yeah.
Till it's ready?
Although you say wait after FanFest, the FanFest this time, like there was stuff announced in there, but it was subtly hinted at. It wasn't.
But here's the thing. The reason why I think they got nailed at the FanFest, because frankly, FanFest had a ton of new stuff announced.
Yep.
And we did a whole meta show on this, talking about all this new stuff that they're doing. The problem was none of it was ready to ship. But they at least announced it. But when you increase the price on the players, and then you got Paragon on his day off going over and putting his foot in his mouth with the whole, this is going to be the biggest update ever kind of thing. People's expectations were through the roof. They wanted to see stuff that was going to ship the week after FanFest was over. And the result was a bunch of stuff that was basically barely a design document that they'd finished the night before and put up on the screen. And everybody's like, hey, I mean, literally when the biggest crowd pleasing pop you got, and I was in the room, so I saw this, was when they announced the fucking Excel, like partnership. That tells you something.
Hey man, it's serious
beyond the
business.
fact that we're nerds, right?
I mean, it's an Eve Onion article, right? Like, this is your big thing, is Excel in space. Okay.
But
Yeah,
why
was
would
definitely
you actually have Office 365? Everybody's using Google Sheets or something.
Yep.
Yeah, even their best announcement was a bit out of touch because it was years behind. Which what a perfect thing for a lot of Eve development. Like, yeah, this would have been great years ago.
Yeah.
And
No,
that
I
was
mean-
the biggest pop that they got in earned media too.
Yeah.
It made Axios Gaming. It made a bunch of the other articles and stuff. I saw a bunch of articles of that was the main thing that came out of FanFest. That's not going to get a single new player. That all that gets is people laughing at us because we're nerds, which that we already are. We play
Wasn't that getting the most coverage because it was so out of left field?
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. And not only was it out of left field, it was so well received by the audience compared to everything else that the press guys were all like, "Damn, you guys like your Excel."
I mean, for me though, I think that they handled their keynote the wrong way. They need to learn from.
100%.
They need to learn how to take the focus away of look at what we've done and then instantly focus on we've been thinking about you guys. This is what's new, and just bullet point it, and then say we'll have different events talking more in depth, and then there you go. It comes off better, and it doesn't look like you're a bunch of pricks.
So
Yeah,
you're,
like I
you're
said.
saying is
But that's a loss of talent at the top
Yeah.
because we used to have those type of keynotes, right?
Right.
Siegel was the last person that probably did that effectively. Siegel was not even my favorite, person. As far as the changes that came, I do like where they are now. Looking back, I thought, compared to the days before, right? Oh, Siegel's good, but not as good as some stuff. And now I'm like, you get Siegel back. But again, I think it's a loss of talent and a loss of just understanding, right? How to pump up the crowd in a way that Eve players won't, right? Like Brisc is right and Drake's right and Reece is right. It's how you deliver this stuff. It
Yeah, well,
matters.
the other
People
thing as
paying
well is the
$1,000
keynote.
to come to FanFest.
They
Yeah,
buried the lead. I mean, Reece is 100% correct. They buried the lead, and that was the big problem. Like, you start off. I mean, and I understand why they want to do this. It's the first FanFest in 4 years or some shit, because they did the world tour, and then we had 2 COVID cancellations, and then we're back. So they want. Here's what's happened since the last time you guys were in Iceland. That would have been fine as its own speech, like later in the day.
Yeah.
But everybody that was watching at home and everybody else, they want. Tell us what's going to happen now. What's next?
Yeah.
What's new? What are we going to get for our extra $5?
Yeah.
And
they
I
essentially,
don't
they
think the new
essentially
stuff
forgot.
happened till like 45 minutes in. It was crazy.
And even
They
the new
said
stuff they did put
got
in was
the
pretty
keynote.
underwhelming. What your added value to your Omega account is faster earning of cosmetic credits.
Yeah. Like, who gives a shit?
Like,
I mean, this-
yeah,
Yeah,
I
right.
the
don't
second
think
day-
that's
second
what
day was
anyone was
great,
looking
though.
for there.
The second day
I
had a
love the
lot of
heraldry
content.
stuff. I love the heraldry stuff. We've been asking for that forever, but that looked to me again like a you left money on the table kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where I guess they
those were
wanted
supposed to be-
sustained revenue, so they said, well, we'll just increase the sub price rather than charge these as like a monetization for skins type thing.
Those are supposed to be
Well, I don't
Hillmark
get it.
coins. They were going to be Hillmark coins. It was going to be Bitcoin for Eve.
Oh god,
At
that was another thing.
least we
that-
got the no NFT shit. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
in
it
a
wasn't even.
speech.
It wasn't even no NFT shit. It was no NFT for tranquility, and then
Well,
he
right,
immediately
right.
said, "But we're keeping an NFT team." So basically, like that was kind of a slap in the face of the community.
Yeah.
It was basically saying, "Okay, we get it. It's not coming to tranquility, but we're still going to do it." Like that is so insulting is the wrong word, but like it's kind of insulting. It's basically saying, I think they're basically saying we're going to put it onto Serenity or the
Well,
new
it's
games.
what I think it means is that they, again, as usual, these guys want to be on the cutting edge. And so what does that mean when they're on the cutting edge? Well, it means that they spend all their time working on shit that never actually ends up being an Eve. They work on games that come out that last 2 years and then they're decommissioned. I mean, they were on the cutting edge of virtual reality, and we just found out a couple weeks ago that they're shutting down Valkyrie.
Yep.
And
That is a shame.
and stuff like that. Like they did, right? I mean, the whole World of Darkness, all of the work that they did on that, and then they used some of the engine parts for walking in stations. That didn't turn into anything. Then they go and they went and sold it off. It's just they've been trying to make fetch happen with these FPSs for the last frickin' decade.
Since the beginning of time.
Exactly. And all it does, because the only thing that's generating income for these guys right now is Eve. So every penny that they take that gets sent off to these other projects that don't make dime one is money that could have been spent on Eve development. And that's kind of why I think we're stuck in the position that we're in, where it takes 6 months to get anything done because they don't have the resources because they're bleeding them off into other stuff, which is exactly what happened the last Summer of Rage in 2011 when everybody was complaining because they were spending all the money that they made on Eve doing World of Darkness and Dust and all these other games, and it was creating backlogs of stuff in Eve Online. But the only good thing I can say is after that was done, after the Incarnate Crisis and all the bullshit that happened, then we finally got like Crucible, which was one of the best game updates, new ships, all a bunch of quality of life stuff, changes that we've been asking for a long time. They finally did that. So I'm hoping they have the pattern. They've done it before to fix things when shit's been bad. We just got to get them to do it.
Yeah.
It
makes
numb to it though. They've become numb to us writing or being mad, right? Because Reddit's mad every day, and
Yeah, that's
calls
true.
for a blackout or a ban every other week now. So I think in some ways we, the community, have kind of yelled and screamed and kicked to the point they go, they'll shut up eventually, don't matter.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember when that price increase came out, Reece DM'd me. I was at work and we already had an episode planned, and I was like, well, guess we got a new show. And I think that was our extra salty show where I wore my Gengar onesie.
Yeah.
And I was just so pissed. And I was like, dude, we are super salty right now. I'm wearing my Gengar onesie and I'm getting drunk and doing a stream. and I stuck to my promise. They increased the price by 32%. I'm subbing 1/6 of my accounts. I instantly did that. I made that decision. I think they just resubbed right before that too, which pissed me off.
Yeah, and you can see the reflection on the MER right now with the what's it called, the net ISK flow of people subbing and unsubbing. Yeah, so we're now seeing that people who have unsubbed months ago, but their accounts are now lapsing, and that's what's coming out.
So maybe Pokemon will finally beat the Forge soon for destruction.
Oh, dude, we were only 30 bill behind him.
I know. Gotta push harder. I gotta kill Kylon more. Kylon flying.
You gotta get some more of these damn orcas moving through here, then you'll be fine.
But a friend of mine is saying I could have done a triple threat, made Podgman #1, and also had the #1 stupidest loss, and then also have the largest loss and just sacrifice the Panther.
Look, people come help us shoot forwards. We can make this happen, right?
Well, I mean, there's that person that sacrificed the AT ship to Horde over in Scarcon.
That was funny.
Oh, Asar?
Yeah.
We saw it on DSCAM the other day before that, and we were trying to track it down. We had brought out combat scanners and couldn't find them. We're like, damn, we want that kill mail.
Asar's an interesting character. Although that's even if he killed it, it doesn't beat my Raiju kill where I shit posted it back out of existence with a Reddit thread. Oh, that was so fun.
Dude, people are still salty about that. I hear it brought up.
Good. They shouldn't have fucking reimbursed it in the first place.
Oh, yeah, they shouldn't have. It's bullshit.
The thing is,
and that's the GMs know better. They really need to know better, and that's we give them a hard time sometimes, and it's not always their fault because they got a lot of people going through there. But you see a ship like that, and a loss like that, somebody is going to lie to say, "Oh well, there was a server issue, there was something, so I didn't lose my 200 billion ISK AT ship like a schmuck." You can't ever reimburse stuff like that. You just be like, "Guys, sorry, even if it was our fault, we can't."
Yeah, I think the guy said from our looking at his comms, he basically told the GM that he disconnected and then someone had ganked him, which wasn't true because we put a bait orca out and he engaged it willingly in the Raichu. So, but apparently that dude constantly, he brags about constantly doing it, and all you have to do is keep petitioning it, and eventually you'll get a GM that doesn't give a shit, and we'll just do it.
Yeah, and that's
probably what happened. Yeah.
I just want to say, I know because I've done that to GMs before. It was vanilla BC, right? Vanilla World of Warcraft, right when BC was coming out. We all transferred servers. And BC dropped like 2 days later, and I petitioned the GM saying I was missing a bunch of items, and lo and behold, a bunch of free items that I never had.
Wow.
Gotta respect the hustle.
Ban him.
I will not touch. My friends tried to get me to come back, and I was like, "No, I got Eve. Fuck you."
Well, I
We
mean,
gotta-
that's something we can actually say. At least Eve's staff is not embroiled in those kind of controversies.
Yeah.
They're just shitting the game.
Anymore.
Anymore, yeah.
Anymore.
Exactly. At least they're not
Speaking of
Blizzard.
It has
Speaking
been
of
20 years
controversy.
since our last dev controversy.
Speaking of controversy, what about
20
the
years?
extra squishy thing?
Oh,
Lord.
man.
Oh,
Oh boy. I feel like okay, I'm gonna be blunt here. I don't really know Squish that well, but I feel like if they weren't who they were, CCP would have already banned them. I feel like that's just me. I feel like this been anybody, any normal schmo blow who had his Discord leaked, they'd be banned already.
I think there's a lot
I
of
don't know.
players that are
I
in
think
the
CCP
game.
is very anti. They don't like banning stuff for stuff that's outside of the game.
Yeah.
And I had this problem. One of my buddies came to me today saying, "Hey, I got this guy who's griefing all these new players on this Discord over here. What do we do about it?" And I said, "Well, you can put a ticket in, but I know these guys. They're very, very reluctant to take action against anybody on stuff that happens outside of Eve."
Yeah,
So
but
I
Extra
don't know.
Squish is a partner, isn't he?
no.
It was.
No, he's never made it. That's part of the
Oh.
thing. He's never made it. That was one of the things. Like he wasn't allowed to run for CSM, and he never has gotten in the partner program. I think it's partially because of all of
I thought
the other
he
stuff
got-
that's happened, and then this
Thank
thing
God.
happens, and it's like Jesus.
Oh,
Okay.
I think there was one guy that got in the partner program and then was immediately kicked out. I thought that was Squishy, but maybe it was.
Yeah, I thought it was Squishy or somebody.
It might have been AP thinking about it. I can't remember.
Yeah. I don't think
AP
Squishy's
did
ever
get
been.
kicked out. I don't know how long he was in for prior, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But he's in the same milk as those guys. So AP
I have
is.
no lofty hopes that I'll make partner ever. I like my tiny little podcast.
Just go do
No,
daily
just keep
streams.
doing what you're doing. Get your numbers up.
Yeah,
I mean, come
there.
on.
Just learn from Brisc. Get the
Yeah,
the
I
suit
gotta-
on, take the pants off, and do a hot tub stream.
There you go. We'll
Just
make
don't
a,
show
we'll
any
make a-
bare thigh. Yeah, don't
Although
show
that
any
didn't
bare
have
thigh on
Shell Talk.
Twitch.
So.
I do not want to hear a hot tub stream from Shell Talk. Thank you very much for that image.
nah,
We did it. That was a fun stream. A little crazy though.
I like the slow and steady wins the race pace.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's like people don't understand, I think, how hard it is to build up a good Twitch stream. Like it takes, or just an audience. Alek's been doing this longer than anybody in here. Probably all of us combined. You know,
Mhm.
and I mean, he'll tell you, it's not easy. It's a hard thing.
I'd
you
rather
gotta
not
push it.
rely on gimmicks, and that way you know your absolute group of audience members are more dedicated and are not worried about a gimmick, and you're not pressured to get another gimmick out.
Mhm.
You know, this is who we are, like it or not. We're just having a good
Right.
time talking about spaceships. You don't like that? Sorry.
there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with doing something fun for promotion. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
a lot
it's
of
not
people
like
fall into that trap, like, oh, I'll do this contest, or I'll do a giveaway, or I'll do it, and that'll be my big break. But then, just like you said, they gotta keep doing it because there are people who will only turn up for that. And
I
if
mean,
you,
you
as soon
really-
as you take your foot off the gas, you just decelerate back down. Then you have to worry about people complaining that, oh, the stream used to be so much.
Why don't you guys do
busier,"
some
or,
more? You used to do a
Yeah.
lot more of these things. Why
how
don't
come
you
you're
do
not doing
more of
this
them?"
anymore?
if you want a gimmick, by the way, like VTubers are quite popular. You could do a Triglavian VTuber and pretend to be Zoya Triglav.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
There you go.
God.
Don't give us any ideas, please.
Comes
He'll
the
totally
mask.
do
This is
that.
He's already got
There
his
it
Totally
is.
do that.
Gotta finish
There
the
it
There you
is.
go.
visor.
Was
Put his
wondering how
trade mask
long
on.
we'd go on the stream before that came out.
I gotta finish the visor. Gotta put some. I'm gonna put some red LEDs in it. I gotta get Arcanos Bloodfeather on this show one of these days. He's the dude who 3D printed this for me, along with, as Opus calls it, the butt plug. It's a pod.
It
One of
looks
the coolest
amazing.
guys
There
in
you go.
Mud Fan Fest. Has a
Roughnecks.
full get up going.
Yeah, that's
Very
Arcanos
good.
Bloodfeather. He's the dude who made this for me.
Mhm.
He's from Montreal. He's in Dread Bomb. He's a cool dude to talk to.
Awesome.
He's for a Wrecking Crew dude. I don't know many of them, but he's a really cool dude to talk to. He was asking me if I wanted the male one. I was like, dude, it doesn't look triggy enough. Like I'll take the female mask.
It just looks like a mask for the dudes. The women, that one looks great.
Yeah, mask was baller for the female characters,
Mhm.
and so I asked for it.
But
But yeah,
I agree with that. Like you can't build the stream off of giveaways and stuff like that. Like we do that on Rampage, but that's kind of our shtick. But
Yeah.
that's not, we don't do it every day, and people aren't there for the giveaways. I mean, when we do giveaways, we've done some crazy giveaways on Rampage. We did last couple of weeks. We've had people just giving us ships to give away. So we gave away a fully fit Dread. We had like 600 people watching at some point because they all were, and our normal audience is 200. So we knew like 400 people came in because they wanted a chance to win this Dread. One Friday night we were drunk and I was teasing the open comms guys. They had 18 people watching the show, so I gave away 18 billion ISK on the stream, just 1 billion for every person watching open comms, and we had a ton of people that came in for that. But we can't do that. I can't do that every weekend. So you got to have something else. But that's the thing. Slow and steady does it. You get your audience in, you get them talking about stuff they're interested in, and they'll stick around.
Suetoni is a really good example of that. Like his streams are literally just him flying in whatever ship, and he just chats. There's no music. There's nothing else. There's no fun.
No, not even his face. Most of the time, he doesn't even put his camera up anymore. So
well,
it's easy.
I am trying to get him. I do have plans. I've been talking to Sledgehammer, surprisingly. Suetonia joined my Discord server. I gotta get Aurora. Gotta get a response from Aurora, and then Swift will probably come back on. I'm gonna have another little CCP panel to talk about faction warfare shit, and how it pertains to Trigs, because that's kind of what's important to me, because it's the Triglavian times.
Right. You guys
So
are doing.
they know their stuff. They come on. They deal with me, just like
That's
you
good.
guys do. I never give any of you guys any notes. I just be like, just whatever. The show doesn't matter.
Yeah, I send you a message. Hey, you got any notes for today? And you're just like, nah, fam. What? What are you talking about?
I'm
We
drinking
don't do
beer.
notes."
I'll give a general idea in pre-show. We'll just talk out of our ass all day.
So,
Like-
is there anything I should know before I come on the show?
What's that kind of show?
The classic line from every guest. Like, nah.
No,
I mean,
not
not
really.
this
you
one.
should ask as a good guest.
Yeah, I should
Not
just be like,
everybody's
hey,
as
do you want to be
anal
on the
as I am
show?
about handing out show notes and stuff to people when they come on the meta show. All right, here's what you need to know. Here's what you got to do. Show up at this time, be in this exact place. Don't talk until I tell you to. I'm super anal. You guys are like chill. It's nice.
Oh, I'm just literally like, do you want to go up and be on the show?
Anytime.
Cool.
Well, I
Alex
went
doesn't meta show. He
from-
knows how anal I can get. So
I went from just being a visitor to, hey, you want to be more frequent, and I just keep showing up, and shit happens.
dude,
And
that's how it starts. Like half the time, if you consistently show up, hey, yeah, welcome. You're a cast member now. Deal with it.
Pretty much.
That's how it is.
And then he's messaged
how it
me
works.
all day. I'm at work trying to get shit done as a geologist, and he's just like, "Have you seen this?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm at work. Give me like 5 minutes to read this."
Get a new job that you sit at home all day and work
You
from
just-
home.
You
Yeah, that's what you
reminded
gotta do.
me. What about that person that had the ore development Rorqual? What happened
Oh,
to
yeah.
that guy?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
They sure got
um,
removed from his inventory.
That was lame.
my understanding is that they were given some stuff, but my understanding was that apparently a lot of the stuff we were told was not accurate. So I don't know. I mean,
I mean, I
my
don't-
experience
I don't doubt
is,
it.
well, every time look, we've gone through this so many different times, and as much as I don't want to say any negative because the person's in it, but it's like I can never get a full accurate story whenever any of this stuff happens. I get their version of it, and then I go champion it to other people, and later out we find out some other time that like, oh, here's the actual story, and it looks like 90 degrees different from what I was told, what we were all told. It's like inevitably, like somebody will come on and say, I got banned, I did nothing wrong. And then you're like, did you really do nothing wrong? What about this? What did you get banned for? Did you do this? Did you do this? And you find
I
out like they
only
were
use
RMT
racial
crazy amount of
slurs.
money. And they were like, okay, yeah, that's why you got banned, dude.
Yeah,
I'll
I've
stay
learned
enjoy.
one thing from working in moderation for like the past decade. Whenever somebody posts on Twitter that they did nothing wrong or they got banned, they absolutely did something wrong.
Yes, they did. That's it.
And they're just trying to get some clout.
Yeah.
Nah, that's true 99% of the time. I have run into like one or two cases like, oh, actually somebody
groveling
did mess
works
up
better.
somewhere. But
I have the
usually
exact-
it's like,
No,
had the
what I
exact
wanted to
opposite
happen
for
though is
ESL.
I wanted them to sell it, and I wanted someone to take it out, and it would be a coffin and get ganked instantly.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
everybody wants to be on that kill mill. Everybody's coming to that kill
That would have been
mill.
great if if it had died. That would have been even better. But you know,
Zero,
I've
you
seen
want
a
to say something?
few- Yeah, I was going to say I've seen a few posts recently. Again, another sort of trend I've noticed recently. I got banned for being a bot, but I'm not a bot. I was doing T0 abyssal sites for like 12 hours a day for like a week straight, and I got banned. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm just reading the comments, and like 90% of people are like, dude, you're a bot, man. Just just give it up. You're botting. Stop it. And I'm like, okay, everyone's skeptical here. It's probably a good reason why. I wonder, all these people getting banned for doing T0 abyssals for too much. And the
I
main
can get it,
comment
though.
is, behave like a bot, you get banned. But I don't know. What do you all think?
no, I think it's a thing that you have to worry about. And one of the reasons, listen, we have a joke in at least in the Imperium that you're not really a veteran player until you've eaten a bullshit ban. It's like a rule. Everybody has gotten banned at least once for some bullshit and
I've
had
been
it
threatened.
reversed, and me included. And I feel like sometimes with these guys, it's hard to tell. Like
Hmm.
we have some crazy people that play this game that no life it for weeks at a time.
Yeah, definitely.
And I can see that being like, oh, you crabbed for 13 hours a day for 2 weeks. Okay, that's probably not okay. That's probably not right. But then again, it's always there's that potential.
It's like
But I
the
think
Ishtars, right?
GMs.
You see the Ishtars warping as soon as you enter a system,
exactly.
right? Well,
Right, exactly.
when I
Nobody's
was
perfect 100% of the time.
no, but when I started playing, in Nullsec for the first time, I was one of those people that warped off as soon as somebody turned up in local. I was watching local like you wouldn't believe, and I was like, as soon as somebody turned up, I was gone. And afterwards, I used to think, oh, I wonder if I ever got reported for being a bot, because I was as fast
I
as
almost
them.
guarantee it.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty
it's
much everyone's
almost
been reported for being
like
a
Almost
bot.
guaranteed.
that's exact kind of thing that people will nail people on. But that's one of the reasons. Like I've said to CCP multiple times, they need to have somebody on the GM crew that's like an ombudsman that goes back and looks over this stuff and takes the appeals and talks to the players and gets their side of the story and advocates internally for the player against the GM team who wants to ban somebody. That way, that at least there's like an adversarial legal process, because we're at the point now. I mean, look, we got how are we down to now? We're at 21,000 now. Like, I don't think it's a good idea for us to be banning players unless we know rock solid that that person is doing something wrong. And it needs to be something egregious enough that we don't want them back in the community again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, some of this stuff, like, I'm all for second chances and stuff. But
The thing is, it's probably almost entirely automated because it'll just be maybe one or two GMs who could be, not CCP GMs, just what they called, contracted people who just work
No,
as
because I almost
GMs.
applied for a GM job at CCP just for shits and
Yeah,
giggles to leave the country.
there's multiple avenues and stuff, but I'm fairly sure they do take like temporary staff from different companies. But all it'll be is if someone does X amount of the same activity non-stop, for too long, then their account just gets flagged to be reviewed, and then the GM just probably has a bad day. He's come in, his husband or his wife has been shouting at him. He just wants to fuck some nerds up. It's just like ban, 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 ban.
there you go.
I mean, talk to me like 2016. I literally was running incursions with, I joined a fleet of people. It was warped to me. I was with those dudes as the East Coast warped to me, which we had West Coast dudes in the United States in the group too. And I would literally play from 7 o'clock at night until 5 in the morning, and I'd hear the birds start chirping and be like, guys, I gotta go to bed. Good night. And I did that
Yep.
every day of the week until I could start flexing my account because I was unemployed at the time. And that's how I bought my first Mac, how I bought my first high grade snake pod. But even recently, like a couple months ago when I was still hardcore moon mining, some dude was like, I'm not talking to a bot. I'm like, why? Because I have Switch, I alt tab too fast and I can target lock everything, and like I'm apparently a bot because I can do that. Like, I'm just mining. I'm not ratting in nullsec. Give me a break. It's high sec.
Yeah,
And then
who the
Brisc,
fuck would have bought in high sec?
yeah.
Dude,
And
Come
then
on.
Brisc is a
If that
Brisc is a
10 is
nice
an hour
man.
income.
Just saying.
Brisc is a
high
nice
sec
man.
is horrible.
The one thing that should be cracked down on a bit more is input broadcasting. Like, it's not
Yeah.
super prevalent, I would say, but there are good example is there's 2 input broadcasting teams inside Podfin that are constantly getting banned, always getting banned, and the next day they're in brand new characters that are skill pointed up in the exact same comms.
Yeah,
Like,
let's
rinse
talk,
and repeat.
can we
That's
talk
hard.
about ban evasion in general? I
Oh,
I
it's a
still
huge
don't
thing.
get this.
Well, I mean, part of the problem is I don't think the company has ever really explained well how their bans work.
Yeah.
Like when you ban someone, are you banning the person operating the keyboard? Are you banning that character? Like, is a
I don't know if
permaban on
any
one
company-
character? Does that mean you can't like Norals is a perfect example. Everybody said, oh, he's been banned like a dozen times. Why is he still allowed to run a major alliance? And the question I always have for people is, do we know if he was permabanned as a person or is it per account? Because sometimes these guys will just say, all right, we killed that account. That one's done. That's your punishment. If you want to make a new one and keep playing, go ahead. But we
it's
never
just
get
not
that level of
punishment now.
detail from the company, so we don't know.
Yeah.
Just like industry wise, that would be very odd if that's the approach. I mean,
Yeah, it's just
they could be
just
doing
weird.
it, but it's so
Yeah.
it's unusual. Usually, you would ban players for their actions. The only issue
Right.
with the account would be like, and they even have tools for this now, where they wouldn't even need to ban if like all the usernames on the account were somehow like crazy Nazi stuff or something. Like you might have to ban the whole account, but usually you're banning the player. Like they're the one that did it. It's not,
Right.
it's not like the characters are acting on their own, you know.
The thing is, previously, like before skill injectors, like there was a tangible, like effect of being banned. It's just you had to sub it for X amount of time to get it back up to where it was. With skill injectors now and the amount of money people are making, it's literally just a cost of business.
Yep. I mean,
Like there is no downside to being banned if you
No.
don't give a shit about the character behind, the character that got banned.
I
Yep.
care
That's true.
because I've had this character since 07.
Hmm.
And it's
Exactly.
it's my
That's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. For those of us who are attached or who have built our personas around a certain character or something like that. Like I've been using Brisc Ball in every game that I play since 2003.
Yep.
So like that was the biggest thing. When I got banned, that was the one thing that hurt me more than anything else was, I mean, besides the real life shit. Take away the real life shit, like Eve stuff, losing that name was my brand in video games forever, and having one that was like where I couldn't play it on that name, that was really fucked up.
Yeah,
So that was a big deal for me.
I just had my Google main account hijacked a couple of weeks ago, and man, I feel you. There's a huge part of me missing now, and it's still I'm still finding things that it was linked to that I don't have anymore. Like me and my sons.
I'm having that problem too. Weirdly enough, like I am one of the biggest champions of two-factor authentication, and even I fuck up sometimes. And I fucked up and didn't put two-factor on my Rockstar game account, Brisc Revolve, and it got hacked. And I don't have access to the account now, and I'm trying to work with Rockstar to get it fixed, but it takes
Yeah, good
forever.
luck.
And it's like, I mean, they're the worst in terms of customer service.
Yeah, if there's one
It's just bad.
if there's one GM team that's worse than CCPs, it's definitely Rockstar.
Rockstar.
Holy shit.
And I haven't it's only been a couple days since I discovered it, so I'm not ready to go all, blue check mark on their ass on Twitter or something. But at the same time, it's like, come on, it's a little frustrating for us when that kind of stuff happens. But it hurts. Like, I mean, that's the thing. You build up that brand and you use it in multiple different areas, and you lose it somewhere, that hurts. But for the bad guys, the guys that are RMT and stuff like this, they just want they want money.
Yep.
This is about real life money, so they don't give a shit about the character. It's just they need a way to make their bank, and that's what they do.
Yeah,
And I think Injectors has made that easier.
the guy that hijacked mine, he stole my son's minorly popular YouTube account, and he's now posting like viruses or essentially.
Right, exactly. And that's the worst thing. Like totally destroying the reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. No, I mean, me personally, I know I said 07, but this has my original character on it. from when I first started playing in like 2006. Like I got into when I went to college in 2006. I was playing tabletop games like a nerd, and one of the guys there was like, "You should try out Eve. It's better than WoW. You know, your skills train while you're offline." I was like, and I haven't logged into that character since 2007 because that was, some of you guys who played for a long time remember like what faction you chose influenced what your starting stats were. And
That's why we were all Caldari back then.
Well, I went Galente because it was better for what I was looking at.
Up. Sabbat, you fucked up.
Now Galente is the best background for a
Caldari
character.
Master Race.
Caldari Master Race.
Dude,
but I switched to Galente because it fit my play style right, like what I wanted to learn into, and I just like fuck it, Mimitar. I dumpstered that. I didn't really dumpster that account, but I just put it on the side. I still have it. I will never delete it. Been tempted to make multiple account alt characters on that same account just to have them, but I'm just like, I'm good.
There you go.
Like
all right, gentlemen, I've got a hard stop right now because I got to take my wife to our birthday dinners, so I'm gonna get out of here. But
Brisc, I just want to say one last thing. Thanks for that 3 billion after Innominate and Merkelchin killed my orca. You're an awesome man. I love you for that. And keep doing.
ISRP my friends when we do bad things to them.
Yeah.
So
keep having fun, man. I'll keep watching your streams.
Great seeing all you guys. It's great talking to everybody. Congrats on the 1 year, 2 months late, and look forward to watching the show and seeing you guys soon. So.
Yep. Later, Brisc.
Speak to you, Brisc.
Good night, everybody.
And this is the first time Brisc and I have actually spoken together for like more than 10 minutes without getting each other's throats.
Really?
Just because the campaign trail for the CSM, like,
I mean, it's water under the bridge, right?
Don't worry. I'll run next year so I can get my ass kicked in CSM, and we can go 3 for 3 for the triangles.
If I'm still around, I'll probably run again. It was actually quite fun, like doing all the campaign stuff.
Well, maybe if many more nullsec players quit and the Parchment numbers stay the same, you guys will get in. If CCP runs the ground into a little bit more, maybe runs the game to the ground, maybe you'll have a shot.
All the Pokemon players officially need to stay playing the game until the servers shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, I'm just saying, based on a percentage of ballots that I was on, coming from a 3 actual man corp, just doing nothing in Podford, did pretty fucking well. Quite pleased.
I mean,
with it.
You had 6 votes from me for you first place.
Hell yeah.
I think you're the Kyber ballot too.
I was on quite a lot of ballots. I'm now kind of like chummy with the wormhole guys, the Turbo Feeding Old Glory and Foxholes, just because through what I was saying through the campaign, they were like, I agree with this guy's idea. He wants to bring everyone else up, not just nerf 1 people into the ground.
Drake, you got 9. You got 9 votes from another Kyber dude as first.
From Powder Sniff, hell yeah. We'll sniff some powder together, my dude.
What, you got 50?
Oh shit! All right.
You got 18 votes from me, I think.
Oh damn! No, you got Goon. No, that's right. You actually vote most of your characters Goon Swarm ballot because you control Goon Swarm.
Is that what he does?
You know me.
I always tell him that he actually controls all the line members of Goon Swarm. He just has like hundreds of alts.
Yeah, Goon Swarm is actually a very well known offshoot of Eve Onion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's totally affiliated. I don't have a single member.
Do with that attitude.
Well, I don't have a single member, and like most of Eve Onion writing staff comes from Wormhole. Yeah, Wormhole Space or Lowsec.
Or high sec anchors.
Well, that yeah. I may have the CEO of Safety, Alliance Leader Safety, in my Eve Onion writing, but
All right, so I know what's going on. Alek's starting to look at times and stuff, and he's starting to bounce his leg a little bit. He's like, "There's another thing that needs to die," and I'm just like, "I want to log in and kill it too." I'm
looking at my kill board feed, and it's not there yet. I feel like it should be.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Nora's mid contract and Losec. We gotta.
Yeah,
kill something we just reinforced.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure I'll get the deal on that. I didn't show up today because of all the stuff, but I'll be there next time.
Yeah,
It
there
wasn't
was
nearly as
I sent
interesting as we hoped it would be.
I sent Sabbath along, so that counts for like 10 of us.
a person.
Still only counts as one.
Still, it counts as one.
All right, well, get down to the nitty gritty. I'm gonna do this. You guys can either make fun of me afterwards, one at a time, or say your little piece about this show, whatever you want to. Farrell, and you, Alek, were two of the guys that kept me going. Farrell, I tried to get on the show multiple times because he was sorry, Alek, I started listening to Farrell first. Less than 10 piqued my interest a little bit, then Declarations of War in the beginning. But you guys, you two, like Farrell's mentality of fuck it, especially when he decided not to take people's money and just do it for fun. He like his mentality with running less than 10 until he disappeared into the mist of small gang lore. I know he comes back every once in a while, but his attitude and the way he ran stuff, he was the one that got me going. That like, who gives a shit? Like what other people think? Like I'm gonna do this. I know small gang community is small, but listening to him and then starting listening to your show, Alek, like, and you're the longest running U podcast. They were like those are the two things that like every time I'm kind of like, dude, sometimes it's a little bit of a chore, but I like drinking beer and just, I mean, that's how I run the show, drinking beer and chatting with friends. And it kept me going. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank Farrell. Like you two in particular kept me going. And then people like Brisc and having Aurora and Swift come on when I was a no-name show, like, to look back after a year being like, how the fuck was my second episode with two CCP community members? How the fuck did I get Brisc on my second show ever? Why did I ever put Opus on my first show? That was a flop. So who wants to go next? Opus will rip me a new one.
No, I mean, I don't rip you a new one. I'm very happy to see you're still going. I'm super proud of, like, I remember the first conversations we had about doing a show based on, Potsfin and all the happenings, and to get us, equal representation in the news world for EVE Online, right? So I'm really proud of you, to stick with something for a year, right? Especially that nothing, I mean, we're busy already playing a video game. That's your hobby. Then you start another hobby within your hobby, So it's takes a lot of effort and a lot of focus and a lot of dedication, right? And I'm really proud of that. I haven't been to every show. I listened to most of them. You've grown a lot over the past year. You've definitely become your own, right? You're your own show. There's nothing like it. And not just because it's Pachman based, it's your own unique, uh, you know, host that you are. I was super proud of you that. Yeah, there's some times where, definitely between the alcohol and the raging cursing, it's that's the only comments I have there. But overall, dude, like, I'm very proud of you. You've done something that is super, few and far between in Eve, right? There people start a lot of projects in Eve, and not a lot of them are around a year later. So,
Yeah.
congrats. I'm proud of you.
And I do have to say, Kylon and Reece, thanks for hanging on with my shenanigans all the time.
Hey, anytime, dude. I agree. This show is going way further and way better than I ever anticipated.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a shit show the whole time, Kylon.
But yeah, you say it's a clusterfuck, but it's really not. Like, you have a plan.
It normally goes pretty well. I'm good at guiding that conversation once we get on the roll.
It's the most structured drinking session you could possibly ask for.
Reece,
Drink with us on the podcast. It's more fun if you do. No, but honestly, I didn't expect I'd be here for the 1 year anniversary, much less. It's just one of those things that just happened out of nowhere, And it's not been horrible, but if only you would be more dedicated to it versus what you did with your high-sec structures and just dropped and ran because Black Flag extorted you too much.
I did.
Oh.
I did. So I had 28 billion ISKN structures that I pulled down and sold on the market already. I already got my money.
So I made 2 billion during this show. I kept on flying.
Wow. Crab's gonna crab.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do, before we go to the Noor boys, let's go to Drake. Drake, you've only been on one show, but you can make fun of me.
I'd say the most surprising thing was about a year ago when you started, we were kind of mortal enemies and everyone was against me and my group. And now we're all chummy and pretty much all the entire people that were dead against me were the ones to say you should definitely run for CSM. And I'd be like, it sounds fun, sure, let's do it. I was essentially bullied by everyone to say you should run for CSM. But yeah, I was only in one for one show. I think I remember your first ever show, which was like I was in the kitchen or something, and I saw Triglavian Times on Twitch. I was looking for something to listen to, and it was just you and I think it was Opus and Kylon just essentially complaining about what we were doing back then. So I was like, this entire Twitch channel has been invented to complain about me. Interesting.
No, it was actually invented to go against what was happening in Talking in Stations, if I remember correctly. That's what was
Yeah,
born out
actually,
of
it was Talking Stations what pissed me off. Because they were constantly painting. They were whitewashing Talkman with one blanket that we were just uber crabbers and all this shit, and it just I flew off the
Matt, for
handle.
all not knowing what is going on in Eve, you should say it ain't so. Matterall's takes were like fucking room temperature IQ, almost all of them.
Reece, you love that episode. That episode, right when Matterall was doing, we did an episode literally like Talking Stations ended and our show started up 45 minutes later. And I was already seething watching that. Like, I was watching it. I was just like, how are they fucking up a stream? I mean, I fucked up the stream at the beginning too, but they were fucking it up so bad. And I was just like, when I started, I was like, we know how to start a show on time and not have everything completely fucked. Because he kept at, like, I tried to go on the show several times to talk to him about, like, what Pochman was like. Because he kept having, like, random people on that were like, oh, yeah, it's super safe. And I'm like, no, it's fucking not.
Come on down over here. I'll show you how safe it is.
Undock, Matterall. I'll show you how safe it is, yeah.
Oh, you don't have your golden ammo to save you?
All right.
Oh,
So
we're getting off track.
Yep. All right, we're going to Alek because I want to leave Zeeroak cool for last because he has said some funny things to me about the podcast after he started listening to it out of nowhere. So we'll go to Alek.
Yeah, man. I still remember the day that you messaged me about your show. You're like, oh, I was just struck. It came over on Discord just how enthusiastic you were for Eve and your show in general. And I think that's been the hallmark of Triglavian Times, the pure passion that you've put into it. And like you said a bit earlier, don't care what anybody says. Don't care how popular it is or isn't. This is what you love. This is what you want to do. And you don't care how many people come along. You're happy for all the company that you get.
Yep.
But mostly you just want to do this. And I think that's the best hallmark of a podcast. And I'm tremendously happy that you've made it over a year, that you're still going strong. I'm sure if Favorall was here, he'd be really proud of you too.
Thanks, Alek. You can tell who's a professional podcaster over here who has over 200 episodes.
Coming in on 300 pretty soon.
Yeah,
I
it's
hope.
pretty close.
We'll get there.
That's definitely a good milestone you should celebrate.
Zeeroak cool.
Right, yeah, my story. So really interesting for me because I was one day just sort of sat in a fleet in Noir, and in come some Kybernauts, and everyone was chatting. And after about 10 minutes, I was like, I know you. I listen to your podcast. And you're like, yeah. Anyway, that was that. And
it's probably
so
drunk.
I was on the way home then. I was on the way home from work one day, listening to your podcast, and you mentioned it on your podcast, and you mentioned me, and I was like, oh, I got mentioned on a podcast. That's so cool. And since then, I've started doing declarations of war, and we end up mentioning each other now, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, so you're the first person to mention me on a podcast, and I don't know if I'm the first person to recognize you on comms.
You are,
Maybe,
actually.
maybe not.
Most of Kybernauts just know I already do this shit, but you're the first one, like, in a random comm to be like, oh yeah, I recognize your voice.
But it was literally just the voice, right? Because at the time, I couldn't work out. When you listen to a podcast, especially if you're quite new adult, with certain communities and things, you're like, I don't know who's who. Everyone introduces themselves at the beginning, maybe, and then it takes ages to learn whose voice is whose and what their names are and things, unless they talk about it, repeatedly. So I didn't pick up on when you entered comms. I didn't pick up that you were the person who did the podcast, and it was literally just your voice. I was like, I know that voice. I know where it's from. Triglavian Times. You're on Spotify. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the recordings are posted, so it's also like a chronicle if somebody ever wants to like make the Poshvin story or something. They'll be able to go back.
Yeah, but from a roast perspective, because I've been very nice, right? From a roast perspective, they'll miss the first bit because your sound was, well, something.
Oh well, the very
needed
first
improving.
episode was hot garbage. Like that was like a clusterfuck of the setup, and then the second episode and the third episode, I had to do my little recorded cuts because I fucked shit up so bad.
It's improved a lot, I gotta say. I can hear you in the car now. It's fine.
Yeah. All right, as is tradition, we will wrap this show up as we normally do. We will talk about favorite kills of the week and stuff like that. I'm sure Opus and I are going to have the same one, which is killing Kylon. That was a fun little battle. We had, five Kybernauts come through the gate in Pakavin and take care of a tiny little fleet with Kylon. Who else was there?
Popped through and saw you guys sitting there waiting, getting ready to run our camp, and I was like, "Oh man, it's the Kybernauts! Now we have to fight."
Y'all had a Roke though, right? Y'all had a battleship.
No, they had a Naga.
A Naga. Yeah, battle cruiser. That's battleship guns on it.
So we took down the Deacon first, and then we took down the other Hecate, which I'm still mad that Daruna somehow got the kill mail on that. We did like 120 damage to it, and then I was the Naga warped off, and there's Kylon still in the bubble, and I'm like, I wonder if I can get Kylon now. And sure as shit, managed to catch Kylon in his little interceptor.
Yeah, I'll let you catch me.
Well, you did stick around. I was wondering, like, you warped off at first and you came back. And I
was in a malediction. I allowed people to catch me. Well, I did get on Opus's kill mail, and the Ishtars came through a second later and killed him.
Yeah.
I got on the kill mail, so that was all right.
Yeah, those Ishtars were brutal. So basically, 3 of us are kind of taken care of. Kylon, do you have? Well, 2 of us are taken care of. Kylon, do you have anything?
No, that fight was definitely my funnest one of the week.
That was a fun fight. It was a fun, brutal, quick, entertaining fight. Especially because Opus died.
Die a lot.
Reece, anything for you? You were mining, I get it.
I got my buttocks beaten by a couple Russians while I was in low sec. And the only reason they got me is because I bumped off the rock. And I'm just like, I was orbiting at a good distance because I've had that happen before. Next thing I know, 3 people out of nowhere, a Loki, a stealth bomber, and something else just came to get me.
Yep.
Way it goes.
Yep. Drake?
They're cheap now.
Oh yeah. Drake?
I think my fun one is not super recent. It's probably about a month ago. It was just after the CSM elections had finished. and I'd been invited by Mark Resurrectus to go and chill in a fleet with them as like a celebratory fleet for him getting on CSM. So I'd been sitting in the Panther on the Scarcon gate camps that Horde had been setting up and just been living with them and pestering them for about like 2 or 3 weeks. So I was on my way. I had to go one jump over just to extract the Panther, change pods, and get over to wormhole space. And there was this Tempest on grid, and the gate camp had just left. So I was like, that's interesting. And then I see coming through the gate is Bing Kaz and a friend of his, and he's in this armor vagabond, which is an interesting fit. And he saw me walk to the grid, so he just immediately just beelined it directly to this Tempest, hoping that I would go and help. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm in. And so I'm in the Arty Panther, so I do quite a lot of DPS, but my cycle time is huge. So I'm decloaking, shooting it, and then repositioning. Eventually, the Tempest kills this Bing's Vagabond, and there's a Stratos holding it, which I think either panicked or got neutered out and just warped off. But this Tempest was in hull, and I just needed like half a cycle of my RTs, which is about like 2 or 3 years cycle time, to be able to recycle and finish him off. And I was like, fuck it, I don't have a tackle mod. So I cloaked and pulsed my cloak drive so I can go 8k a second, and I burn right at him so I could bump tackle him. And I bump tackled him so hard that he just flew away from me perfectly with no transversal as my gun cycled, and I got like a perfect wrecking shot and just evaporated him at point blank range.
That's a thing of beauty.
Awesome.
Very nice.
All right, let's go with Zero this time because I feel like Alek might have something like, I don't know. Oh nope, that look. Alek can go first.
I have one. I don't know. Zero probably has better ones because he's actually been playing Eve for the past couple weeks.
You've been moving just like me.
There's a risk that my favorite will be Alex, so I'm gonna let Alek go first.
All right. Well, my favorite is my first kill back from moving. I have my computers in bits. The internet wasn't working in the new place we were moving into. I finally got it working. So the first thing I did was hop on and try to go for a timer. I reinforced an Athenor and was like, all right, waiting for it to come out. Sure enough, the local small nullsec alliance outformed us. Nars recruiting, by the way. So we're like, all right, well, we can't, go hit the structure because they've got like 3 times as many people. So I guess we'll go for a roam instead. And we catch a small local defense fleet going back and forth. There's like 2 interceptors, a retribution, and a caracol. And we were in, myself and a Vedmak, we had Alkari in a Hecate, Shepherd in a Kitsune, and Arce in a Tackle Stiletto. We're staring at each other on both sides of the gate for a little while, and for whatever reason, the Retri jumps. We're like, all right, let's do this. Let's try to aggress the Retribution. Retribution burns back the gate, and the Caracal jumps in and warps off. We're like, all right, so they're just deciding not to fight. As the Retribution starts to de-aggress, the Caracal does come back at 50k off the gate. We're like, oh, all right, let's do it. So Arce goes in for the tackle. We got Alkari going in for his tackle, and I'm burning over to apply some DPS. Immediately, Alkari cries out that he's getting absolutely wrecked. And I get to shine because everybody gives me shit for putting remote armor reppers on my nano Vedmax. But not this time. Locked him up, gave him the reps he needed to stay in the fight. Started putting DPS in the Caracal. He was able to extract, leaving the Caracal with like half a clip or less on his rapid lights. And I was just sitting there tackling him quite leisurely. So he just dropped. The Interceptor and the Retribution thought about it and then decided not to. And so we just picked up a clean Caracal kill and moonwalked out of there. It felt great. It was good to get back into the swing of things. Super tiny kill, wasn't even bling fit, 24 million, but felt like a billionist kill to me. It was good to be back.
Especially after moving. I understand that feeling after moving, man. When I got my PC set up after moving, I was like, oh my god, I can play Eve again. I don't care what I kill. All right, Zero.
So I've had a few interesting roams this week, but every good kill story has to have a story to it, right? It can't just be, I caught this and it died. So today now we were in this this contract fleet, and we had lots of tension because you're just waiting for we were in a lot of ships. We were producing a lot of DPS, and we were very concerned about being dropped on. So that we were watching the local count and local characters coming in and descan like hawks. And towards the end now, all of a sudden something appears on grid, and it warps in at 0 on the thing that we're shooting. And I'm like, oh my god, what is it? It's a shuttle. Oh, so as FC, I mean, even though I didn't get on the kill mail, it was just so satisfying to go lock up the shuttle, and then to have Alek go, got it, tackle
I
on the
was so
shuttle.
mad. I was so mad on that kill because I was like, I couldn't even fucking shoot at it. I literally locked it, and then all of a sudden it blew up, and I was like, you fucking kidding me?
I did have to think about it while it was still an invul. Like, oh, it's just a shuttle. Should I? Yeah, well, you never know what's inside it. I burned over and scrammed it.
I literally was sitting there like, God damn it. I literally locked it, and then it blew up, and I was like, ah! Because I was just going to long point it.
That's why you preheat and everything, and when it gets done locking, bam, you get that shot, and you still get credit, even though
You have to
didn't hit it.
remember, I'm a person that loves their 5.0 security status for their Concorde ships, so
That's why you buy tags, duh.
Hey, those shuttle kills are super impressive, right? I mean, nobody catches those, right?
yeah. But all right, guys, thank you all for joining me on this shit show. I don't know if it'll be the next episode or not. I'm still talking to CCP devs about getting them on. So the next show or the following one probably will be a CCP like sit and shoot the shit about faction warfare. And thank for you guys for joining on the 2 month late 1 year anniversary show. You guys you guys that follow and watch a lot of the shows and shit talk every once in a while in stream chat. Thanks. I mean, it's been a weird year. I only did 22 episodes before doing the anniversary show. I know I don't put them out fast enough, but try to put them out when I can. And after moving and kind of doing the CCP ballot thing, having a more regular show was really nice. So thank you all. Oh wait, no. Noir is recruiting. If you fancy yourself a PvPer, you should go to you should join the in-game channel Noir Cafe Noir dot.
Very good.
Now I just need that less than 10 member to be like, it's not the size of your gang, it's how triangular it is. But all right, you guys fly dangerous. I don't like to say fly safe because everyone who's in Pockvin or our mercs or enjoy this game for the fun that it is. None of us like to fly safe. We like to have a little bit of spice in the fleets. So I hope you
Absolutely.
All about having a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
Times.
All right. Thank you all. And I will see you guys on the next show.
Peace.